Hey guys, so I'm doing a video called for Ring of Honor, the pay-per-view for Final Battle. I watched it today. I have to say it was all right. It wasn't great. It was better than anything WWE's put out this year. I'm not gonna lie. Um, there were some high spots, some low spots. Some of the matches I was surprised, and I'll go over them, that weren't very good. That I was expecting them to be better than they were. But I'll talk about it as we go. So our first match was Taven versus Will Ospreay. This was a good match. This faction, the Kingdom, is quite interesting, I must say. They're really one of these factions that they're interesting. They have interesting factions. Them and the Bullet Club is an interesting faction. That might lead to somewhere sometime. I'm not sure about anytime soon, but should lead to somewhere sometime. At the beginning of the match, very good chain wrestling. I was impressed. I've seen Will Ospreay maybe a couple of times in New Japan. He's really good. He's a high flyer. These guys, there's a lot of high spots in this wrestling. I mean, I understand why, but you don't need that many high spots. I get why you have that many, but you don't technically need all of them. You don't need to do them every time. And it just seemed like there was a bunch of moves that were all the same. A cutter, or a variation of a cutter, every single time. You know what? I get it. A cutter is a very good move. Randy Orton's finisher is a cutter. I get it. But there's no originality with the cutter. I mean, yes, there's variations of it, but we've seen them all. The chain wrestling was really good in this match. Of course, there was a couple of cutters in this match. The way I look at Ospreay is he's more like Finn Balor, but he's more of a finesse, high flyer type of guy. You know, good wrestler though. There was a spot in this match where Will Ospreay nailed, and it just was wow, brutal hit to the back of Taven's head. Oh my god, it was brutal. I thought that was the end of the match right there, to be honest with you. Then another high spot, which is actually pretty good, something I very rarely see in WWE at all, is a super kick by Ospreay while Taven was doing a headstand on the turnbuckle and took a super kick to the face. Pretty impressive. It was a good match. Good. Ospreay, I don't remember what his finisher was, but he ended up winning the match about 15-20 minutes into the match. Each match lasted about 15 minutes. A lot longer than a lot of WWE matches. It was a good match. I gave it a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Somewhere in there. Then we get to Addiction versus War Machine. And this match, to me, it wasn't quite as good. Now, I like Daniels and Kazarian from when they were in TNA. Very good workers. Daniels is a very good worker. Him and I can't remember who his partner was in well, I know the Kazarian was his partner, but he worked really well. I think it might have been AJ Styles. He worked really well with him. There really wasn't too much about this match. It was slow. And the thing about War Machine, they're good, but why did they have to try to do hot spots? They're doing handsprings. These guys are well over 340 pounds. Be the powerhouse. Be a powerhouse. You don't need to be a high flyer of sorts. You know what I mean? I mean, it was good, but I'm not going to sit here and say that that's what you need to do, because you don't need it. So we move on. We're watching this match. It was better than any WWE match I had seen so far. It was better than anything WWE could put on as a tag match like this. Addiction made the match work. They carried the match with more of the better moves. War Machine again is good, but they need to be powerhouses, not the high flyers that they try to portray them. It seems like everybody in Ring of Honor wants to be a high flyer, and come on, you're 350 pounds. You don't need to do that every single time. Not with every single match. I'm not saying that you can't do it, but use your. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't that impressed with the match, although it was good. I gave it a 6 out of 10. So far, there's been some good matches in this. I can't complain. Then this match, and I love Jay Lethal. War Machine ended up winning that match. I'm sorry, I don't know if I said that. War Machine ended up winning that match. And of course, there were cutters in that match too. Too many cutters. I mean, every single time there was a cutter. I don't even think WWE does that. I'm not cutting it down, but it's just like they might as well call the pay-per-view, let's do a cutter. I'm just being smart ass, but for every match there was some sort of cutter of some kind, you know? You don't need it all the time. So then we got this Addiction and War Machine. I like Hanson and Rowe, the War Machine. I've seen them wrestle a couple of times. They're good, but they need to be powerhouses, not high flyers all the time. I mean, yes, they were given powerhouse moves, but let's kind of. If I was booking this, I would say, look, you guys are powerhouses. Be as such. Although they were good, I'm not gonna knock them. They got a little work to do. They're a little green in the ring, it looks like, but they'll get there. Then we got Marty Scurll versus Jay Lethal. I loved this match. Excellent flow. Great chain wrestling. It seemed like Jay Lethal has an elbow injury of some sort. I'm not sure if that was work or if that was a legit injury that he might be coming off of or whatever. That is one guy I think the WWE needs to get if they can ever get him. I don't know if he's ever said he's not coming to the WWE or whatever, but they need to get him now. Good chain wrestling. Both men were really good. I like Marty Scurll. He is excellent in the ring. Both men can do high spots and methodical wrestling, which is what I think War Machine needs to be more of a methodical match wrestling type team, a powerhouse type team, or a methodical type team. Both men sell in the ring so well. Again, the cutter, which is Jay Lethal's finisher. He does that spring off the ropes with the cutter. Pretty good finisher, but a couple of botches. There was a botch in just about every match there was, but that's okay. I mean, I'm not going to criticize that too much. I mean, it was good. It was better than something the WWE's put out, so I'm not going to complain about that. I gave this match an 8 out of 10 just because it was great flow. Both guys could sell. There was great chain wrestling if there needed to be chain wrestling. Great methodical wrestling if there needed to be methodical wrestling. Some high spots. It was all around a really good match. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. That was the match of the first hour. And this is broken off into 3 segments when I seen it. So then the show kind of started taking a turn. I started not being impressed by this show at all. The Motor City Machine Guns versus Best Friends. Who are these Best Friends? Their promo was terrible. I don't know if it was a work or if that's just their gimmick or whatever. Oh my god. That was worse than Roman Reigns. You know? Worse than Roman Reigns. And that's hard to do. Like I said, I don't know if it was a work. It was great work. It's great skill. But It's not something I would do in a. It just makes him look bad to me. It just doesn't make him look good at all. Uh, it, like I said, it seemed like again the cutter. Everybody's finishing move is a cutter or some sort of signature move, or there was a cutter in the match. It just seemed like too many cutters. Well, Motor City Machine Guns ended up winning. Jay Lethal won the previous match actually with that cutter. So that I was telling you about. So so far, I gave that match a 5 out of 10. There's really nothing over the top with that match. Nothing that I haven't really seen yet so far. No originality with the show. I'm not sitting here saying that it was bad. They played it safe. It seemed like with their style. This is the first pay-per-view I've ever done. This is just what I'm seeing. I'm not comparing it to WWE because it's not WWE. The matches were better, but how much better is the question. And then you had that match. Motor City Machine Guns ended up winning retaining the tag titles. This match was confusing to me. They've got this storyline. It's kind of an Undertaker-ish type of storyline with the Silas Young, who I don't care for him. He doesn't. I don't get him. He's this king of last man standing. I don't know if they do last standing matches at this pay-per-view all the time, but it just makes no sense. The wrong guy won this match. I didn't get it. Slow match. It was predictable, except for the one person that should have been in the final. The final two. The first person was taken out was Shane Taylor, big man, but again, he's a powerhouse. He's not a high flyer. He's going to get hurt because big boy, 360 pounds doing dives outside of a ring. That's kind of a dangerous situation. I wouldn't do that. Not saying you can't do it now. Don't take this the wrong way, but I just don't see how that makes that look that good. I just wasn't impressed with him at all. He was the first one eliminated. The one that I was impressed by in this match was Punishment Martinez. Very good in the ring. Great seller, great worker. I'm not saying Silas Young isn't a great worker, but I just don't see him as being that great. Kenny King's really good. He's another guy WWE should go after. He's in his late 30s. He's like 36, 37 years old. But, so, Kenny King's pretty good. I've heard of him. I have never seen him wrestle. He's decent. But I don't know. I just, listen, this match, the high spot in the match was Kenny King was hit over the head with a beer bottle by Silas Young. And he eliminated Kenny King, which made no sense. I mean, I haven't seen... So I don't know the storyline of what was going on. If this was just one of those matches that it just seemed like they threw the match together. Silas Young won by beating Martinez with another cutter. Enough with the cutters. We get it. People know how to do them. I know it's a safe thing, but people have got to innovate somewhere, somehow to take it to the next level. So I gave that match a 4 out of 10. It was slow. It didn't have any flow to it because there's 4 guys in the match. It just, I don't know. There's nothing to that match. And like I said again, it was better than anything a Fatal 4-Way that WWE's put on this year, in my opinion. So let me move on to Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer versus the Briscoe brothers. Now I know this kind of storyline. The story is that the Briscoe brothers, Jay Briscoe, I think it is, gave Bully Ray a concussion with a table. And I don't know if that was a legitimate concussion or if it was work. But he signed a release for the match. Kind of watching a football game as I'm sitting here. You probably can hear it a little bit. Let me turn it down just a second. So sorry about that. When I do this, I don't know how to edit anything, and I'm not going to worry about editing it because I'm not a professional. I do this for fun. I don't do it to make money, just not yet. I will get there, hopefully someday. So Bully Ray, uh, and I put it down in my notes here that it was a straight up brawl. It was a straight up brawl. Very, and if you've ever seen ECW or Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer wrestle, which I'm sure you have if you're a wrestling fan, you know that that's what they do. They're straight up brawlers. They put people through tables. They hit people with chairs, kendo sticks. You know, so yeah, so they do that stuff. And this was sorry. There's one thing that I did see, and again, he doesn't need to do it, but something that you never seen him do. So this was a little bit of a change. Was that Bully Ray? I call him Bubba Ray because that's how I know him as. He did a dive outside of, from the ring to outside, which was impressive. I was impressed by that, but still, there again, he's a powerhouse. He doesn't need to do that. Doesn't need a high spot like that. There was a reference to Star Wars in this match. When the Briscoes pulled out the kendo sticks and Bully Ray and Tommy Dreamer pulled out lightsabers. I mean, what are you going to do? So then there was another table spot again. This time Bully Ray took a table shot and he started bleeding from the reverse cutter again. Somehow, or either that or he had. I think I was looking confused. He was already bleeding because of the table, and when he came back in, the Briscoe brothers gave him a reverse cutter through a table. It was a decent match. Tons of high spots. And what I mean by high spots is there's finishers and that sort. That's what I mean by a high spot. That's my reference to a high spot. It was 6 out of 10, but there was one problem why I would have gone with the 7, but I went with the 6 because of the table spot at the end. Now, I know the Briscoe brothers, they've been wrestling for a while. How can you miss a spot like that? It's right there in front of you, and you miss the spot. That was the only thing that I found wrong with it. And then that was probably, that was the match of the second hour of the part of the pay-per-view. Act 2 of the pay-per-view, I'm going to call it. That was the best match. Because it carried over into the third hour. Or third part. Is alright. And here's where I got really disappointed. Was this next match. The match before the main event. Because this is where you got to get the people back into it. And people were into it just because of who was in the match. But it makes no sense. I had lost interest in this match. It did get better at the end, but it just did not have the spice that I expect out of the people in this match. I don't know much about Dragon Lee. I don't know much about Titan. I know Flip Gordon, great worker in the ring. And then you got Hangman Page and the Jackson brothers, the Elite. They call them the Hung Bucks. Get it, Hung Bucks, but I called them the Bullet Club. The Briscoes ended up winning that match, by the way. Confusing ending to the match, made no sense. Otherwise, I would have scored it higher. I don't know. They never really referenced anything as to what they're going to do with Bully and Tommy Dreamer. I don't know if they're waiting until the next set of tapings or whatever to tell us what's going on. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Not gonna criticize though. I'm really not, because Bubba Ray and Tommy Dreamer are pretty old. So I gave it its due, a 6 out of 10 for an extreme match. It was pretty good because they can still go in the ring, believe it or not. They're brawlers, and that's what they do. But then we go to this match, and I was definitely not impressed, and I am so disappointed. I know that Paige and the Jacksons can put on a much better match than what this was. There's poor spots. The comedy drop kicks, what the fuck was that shit? Made no sense. Do something different. They just look dumb doing it. It was dumb. And the super kick thing, that was pretty cool. Every time that the Jacksons would do the Young Bucks would do a super kick, they'd holler out super kick. And it was pretty cool. That finisher that they do, that Hangman Page, he did that. I can't even think of that, twisting Hurricane Rana into the pile driver down. That was pretty neat. It was a terrible finish. Made no sense. The Young Bucks and Page ended up winning. It was a 4 out of 10. So it wasn't that it was, but again, it was still better than most WWE matches. And it was for a title. If WWE would come up with a fucking title like that, they probably could do 6-man tag matches. It'd make sense, but they don't. So, and they would get people into storylines and build them from there. You know, it makes sense to me. Then we get to the world title match, Cody Rhodes versus Dalton Castle. I understand the story. The opening, I do want to say this real quick. Each time before each match, there was really good story. They told a really good story about what to expect, about what was kind of going on. So apparently Dalton Castle, Cody Rhodes took the number 1 contendership, I'm assuming, away from Dalton Castle by beating him, and Dalton Castle's trying to build himself back into the world title picture, which he does, which is why we have this match. Cody Rhodes versus Dalton Castle. The only thing I didn't like is when they showed Christopher Daniels, who is now a heel, being a face guy, raising the hand of the guy after the match, after he beats him. That made no sense. Don't show that. Let it go. You don't do that in my book, because it makes the character... How can I hate this guy as a heel if you're going to show that? Is he a heel or is he a face? I don't know. You're confusing the fans when you do that. Again, that's the way they do things. I'm not criticizing. It's just not the way I would do it. So we go to this match. Dalton Castle is an eccentric character. It has an interesting entrance. He plays. It's not Gold Dust-esque, but cross between. It's not even Velveteen. Well, it might be Velveteen Dreamish. But he plays the character pretty good. His gimmick is good. Cody Rhodes plays a great heel. There's good spots by both men. Cody Rhodes took a shot on the ring post. It busted him open. Dalton Castle, the crossroads. Cody Rhodes put the crossroads on. And this is towards the end of the match. Dalton Castle puts a Cody Rhodes, kicks out of the crossroads, or puts Dalton Castle in the crossroads. And I guess for the first time, anybody has ever kicked out of it in Ring of Honor. which means that the Crossroads is now not the best finishing move in Ring of Honor, which is what everybody was saying. It appears that Dalton Castle's move is because he did it one time, and it's like the F5. So that finisher ended the match. It was a confusing match. Had no real flow, but it was still pretty good. Still better than any world title match I've seen on WWE in a long, long time. I mean, imagine if AJ Styles was in that match with Cody Rhodes. I'm pretty sure it'd be a lot higher. It'd probably be like a 7, 7.5. If Jinder Mahal was in that match, it'd probably be like a 3, 3.5. So, with that being said, if Brock Lesnar was in that match, it probably would have been like a 4 or 5 because he does an F5 suplex and then it's fucking over. Fucking hate that. So, but it was alright. I'm not going to sit here and criticize too much. It's the first pay-per-view I've seen. I'll have to watch a little bit more of it. It was okay, but I'm not going to sit here and criticize too much because, like I said, it's the first time I've seen Ring of Honor pay-per-view. I don't know the storyline, but I know that one of my followers, one of my subscribers wanted me to review it, have a look at it. I did. I will continue to watch it. I may miss an episode or two here and there, but I'll look for him to tell me what's going on with the storyline, because it seems like this is the big pay-per-view for Ring of Honor at the end of the year. So we'll move on from there, and I will definitely follow this. I've been wanting to, I just haven't gotten around to it. I was impressed with some of the wrestling. It's a better show than most I've seen. I gave it the whole show itself a 6 out of 10, and how I do that is I take all the matches, add them together, and then divide it by how many ever matches there are, and that's what I get. And I'm not going to sit here and criticize. It was not bad, but it wasn't the greatest of pay-per-views. But I'm not going to sit here and criticize it again. That's just not fair to them for me seeing it me being a wrestling fan for almost 40 years now. I kind of know wrestling. I don't know the names of every single move, but I do know the basics, but I do know when I see a good match. There were high spots, there were low spots, there were in between spots. There were really good matches, there were really bad matches, but the one that disappointed the living shit out of me was the Young Bucks and Hangman Page. I was totally disappointed in the finish in that match. I was totally disappointed in that match, period. The reason why is because it was more comedy than in-ring performing. The thing that really frustrated me was the damn drop kicks. Like, one person had come in, they kept missing drop kicks. Like, they jump at the same time and drop kick, and then two guys would come out, stop, try and drop kick. It made no sense. A lot of botches in these matches. The one match that didn't have any botches, or two matches. Cody Rhodes and Dalton Castle didn't have any botches, and then Jay Lethal and Marty Scurll did not have any botches. But there were botches in the Matt Jackson and the Young Bucks match. I mean, it happens. But they were simple botches. It seemed like they were out of place at times. It's just I don't know. That's just me though. But with that being said, I got to get ready. I'm going to be doing another video live here very, very shortly. I'm doing a live reaction to Star Wars. Not a live reaction or live review with my niece to Star Wars. She's pretty excited to be doing that. I hope you all catch that. So I'm going to wait to put this video up until after I do my live reaction. You guys have a great night. I will see you shortly. and we will do a live review of Star Wars. It'll probably be like a half hour, 45 minutes, or it might be like take an hour, and we'll just answer questions. We'll do a quick review of the movie, and then we'll take your questions. So if you could hold off on the questions, well, you know what? I'll talk to my mods and see what they can do. Either that or I'll be in there and I'll highlight questions and then we'll go from there. So think of your questions and well I'm gonna wait to put this video up, but you know what? I'll put this video up. So come up with your questions and we'll answer them. Well, I'll answer them the best that I possibly can. You can ask her questions too. Just try and keep it PG. Don't ask me any wrestling questions. I will not answer them. But I will answer Star Wars questions for sure. I will see you guys very shortly. You have a great night, and I will see you in about an hour and 15 minutes. Peace.